Every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, tell us some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 on the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, everybody? Michael Buckhouse with the Man Hour. Head over to MikeandMikeManHour.com. Pick yourself up some merchandise. We got hats, hoodies, and of course got t-shirts over there. And of course, the palm beanies. I'm not wearing mine tonight, but I'm wearing my Kansas State Wildcats as we do play like Jackson State tonight or something like that. And basketball, whatever. We're like 1-7, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. If you guys are going to miss any part of the show whatsoever tonight, we're on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio if you want to download that podcast form. But head over to youtube.com/Man Hour. Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. That's where we are the most interactive. Got an action-packed show for you guys tonight. Got Trivia Tuesday. Phone lines will be open. Let me get that phone number for you here real quick. It's 502-208-9266. Those are the phone lines. They'll be open up here in about 15 minutes for Trivia Tuesday. We are giving away some memorabilia tonight if you get all 5 questions correct. But let's go ahead and welcome Brandon Combs on the show. Brandon, what's up, man?
What is going on, Michael Buckheiser? What is going on, Man Hour Nation?
Man,
it's time.
Can I do a little man talk here? You know, some like man-to-man, some man-to-Man Hour Nation talk?
Let's do it.
So my son turned 3 yesterday, right? So he turned the big number 3, and first of all, this is the most exciting birthday that we have had, because he actually knew what was happening, right? He was tearing up his presents, playing with them, having a great time. But we had the greatest man moment in our household tonight. Over here in the Buck household, my son took off his diaper, took off his jammies, whipped out the old Peter, and pissed in the bathtub. My man. Man, there are stages in man's life, and once you start pissing it in the bathtub, man, you have made it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you right now, man. They grow up quick, but you do have those little moments where you're just like, damn, that makes me proud. Like when my 3-year-old or 4-year-old, when he lets one rip and he just looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, that was me." That's awesome. You're just like, yeah, that's great, man.
Man, it's like you are a spitting image of me, man. Honestly, that scares the crap out of me because I know what I was like as like a 7, 8, 9-year-old, and yeah. I don't want to go through that. But he has a great
happy birthday
mom.
To your little man.
Yeah, so River is 3, and of course Christmas. I mean, he kind of gets shafted a little bit, with the birthday being right there and the Christmas like 10 days later. I mean, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Speaking of not sucking, I guess I should say, the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns played last night.
Man,
47-42, 89 combined points. I believe in the last 6 minutes of the game, there was over 30 points scored. So if you guys missed that game, you need to watch it. Brandon, are the Ravens for real or are the Browns for real? Which one are you more dangerous moving forward?
Well, this game told me a lot more about the Browns than it told me about the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, we expected to be good before the season. I mean, they've been good last year. I mean, obviously, other than yourself, who's down on Lamar Jackson, always calling him trash and such, which I hope last night finally proved to you that he's not exactly trash. But the Cleveland Browns are absolutely 110% for real, man. That team is unbelievable. I thought when Baltimore went up on them big, I thought it was over. I thought, all right, so this is what we're going to see. The Baltimore just owns Cleveland, and they're going to finish this off. But they didn't, man. They showed that Baker Mayfield is for real. Baker Mayfield progressed right last night right in front of our eyes. He was checking down. He was reading his progressions. He was doing everything you wanted an NFL quarterback to do, and he was absolutely phenomenal last night. I really like Cleveland. I like them as an upset favorite in the playoffs. They are a dangerous team for everyone. We talked about this last night, and I've talked about this a lot. I think Kansas City plays down to their opponents a lot. Other than Miami, and I think that Cleveland is another team that people are just not going to take seriously because they're the Cleveland Browns, and they might make a run. Can you imagine if we have a Cleveland Browns versus the Buffalo Bills in the AFC title game?
Honestly, that game kind of seems really intriguing after watching the Browns game last night, because just like what you said, Baker Mayfield literally grew in front of our eyes from the first snap of the game to that final offensive snap that they had. It was like almost night and day. Like, he almost took like a 2-year progression forward in just one game. But I want to revert back to what I said when Odell Beckham Jr. went down for the year, right? Yeah. I said that Baker Mayfield is going to make tremendous strides moving forward because he doesn't have to worry about keeping Odell happy. Because let's be honest, Odell Beckham Jr. is a drama queen. He has to have the ball to succeed, and even then, when the spotlight is on him the most, he doesn't succeed. Think about this. What has Odell Beckham done for you when you expect him to do well?
Let me ask you a question. When you think of great wide receivers, okay, which one of them wasn't a drama queen? Think of all the great wide receivers. They were all prima donnas. They were all drama queens. I mean, with the exception of maybe Jerry Rice. I can't, it's been so long. I don't ever remember him being quite like that. But you look back, you look at Michael Irvin, you look at,
So there is difference between being a drama queen and producing on the field, and then being a drama queen and not producing. When you needed Odell Beckham Jr. the most, where was he at? He was crying on the sideline or proposing to a kicking tier. It was stupid.
He is one of those. He is one of those guys who just has never reached his full potential, and I think a lot of that has to do with who he is as a person. I think that it's the same thing that you look at with Antonio Brown. I think that Antonio Brown and OBJ are cut from the same cloth when it comes to being selfish and wanting everything to be about them as opposed to being about the team, and it's going to hurt him in the long run. It's going to hurt him, with his career. Nobody's going to want to touch him. I think this offseason you might even see him land back with the New York Giants.
I think that bridge is done sailed and done burned. Unless the media kind of blew it out of proportion, like a little bit.
He just talked the other day about wanting to be back with them and how much he loved that organization, how he thought he would win a title with the New York Giants. And look, I mean, the New York Giants we've seen over the last 5 weeks, they're not really that far off. I believe they need a quarterback. But they've been playing some good football, and they could use a wide receiver like OBJ, who, if he's on his game and if he is the OBJ that we expect him to be, then, he could really benefit them. But he's got to be in the right frame of mind to be able to do the things that he wants to do and do the things that he talks about doing.
And his right frame of mind is not putting too much pressure on him. So he almost wants to go back to the Giants because he thinks they're not going to be very good, so the pressure won't be on him. Like, think about this. Would the Cleveland Browns be 9-4 right now if Odell Beckham Jr. was on clearly he is on the team, but playing actively on this team? I don't think they would.
I mean, do you think he costs them more than 1 or 2 games? I don't. I mean, I think that...
So let me answer that question. Sorry for cutting you off, but I don't think he does. But I think Baker Mayfield does because subconsciously he thinks he has to get Odell Beckham the ball more.
But do you think really quarterbacks look at that? Let me ask you a question. So the Big Ben has I can't remember the name of the receiver right now, but the guy's just got the yips. Every time the ball touches him, he drops the pass.
Oh, drops his pass. Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember the kid's name now. But he just hit. I mean, he had two passes in the last game where it just hit him right in the hands, and he just dropped it. And Do you think that if you're not performing, do you think that a quarterback like Baker Mayfield would hesitate to go somewhere else? Because I don't. Baker Mayfield feels like he's the best quarterback in the game, and if you're going to be the guy who feels like he's the best quarterback in the game, you're going to make the call on, hey, look, you're not performing right now, so I'm throwing the ball to people who are.
Hey, what's up, Joseph? Thank you for tuning in, man. But so to answer your question, I think subconsciously you do. Meaning like in your head, like you're like I'm not going to go to him this play, but subconsciously you are kind of skipping that read a little bit faster, right?
See, I think that might be a problem in college, or it might be a problem in high school. I can't imagine that that's a problem in the pros. I don't think that I watch quarterbacks of good quarterbacks anyway. I'm not going to talk about guys like Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles or anything like that. But good quarterbacks, they're not going to force the ball into spots that they know they're not going to succeed. Because not only are you not winning games, but you're also messing with my next contract.
Right.
Every ball that you're dropping, every ball that you're not catching is an incompletion in my stat book too. So I don't know that that's really as big of a problem as fans like to make it out to be, because I really don't think that quarterbacks of that caliber are really saying, man, I gotta fit the ball into this guy. I don't care how many guys are on him. If OBJ has 6 guys on him and I got 4 guys wide open, I'm going to throw the ball to OBJ. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, but I think we see it more times than not, just because of like you'll see like Claypool for example. He is a first year player in the league, and I think because like we're talking about the Steelers, like I think the Steelers quarterback tries to get him in the groove early. So they're they're calling like a bunch of screen passes or quick slants. So like I think like that's how they forced in the ball, but not really forcing in the ball. Like they call plays designed for him.
So Joseph says, I'm a Bears fan, and I love football, but as a Bears fan, I'm concerned with the team. Well, Joseph, you've come to the right show, my friend. I, too, am a Bears fan, diehard Bears fan. I love our Bears. I hate what they have become as a team. I think that everywhere from ownership down to the GM, down to the coaching staff, down to the quarterback needs to go. The Bears are a legit quarterback away from being the cream of the crop in the NFC. They just
even
are.
After Mitchell Trubisky threw for like 3 touchdowns and 7 incompletions. Come on, man,
stop that. He was playing against the Houston Texans high school team. Okay,
it's still got JJ Watt on there though.
There is the Bears need. They definitely need ownership, but that's not going to happen. They need a GM that can actually draft, for one. Then they need a head coach who can actually game plan for the players that get drafted, because that's not what we have here in Chicago. And Ryan Pace needs to go. Matt Nagy needs to go. And Mitch Trubisky needs to go. And what really needs to happen is somebody needs to sit down and have a talk with the McCaskies and say, hey, it's okay to have a black quarterback. We can draft a black quarterback. We can go out and we can get we can sign a Teddy Bridgewater because he's going to help our team. We can go out and instead of drafting Mitchell Trubisky, we can draft Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. It's okay. They're going to help us win football games, but they don't do that. I don't know why, and I don't like making things about race, but I say this all the time. In Chicago, only at the quarterback position, we've only had one black quarterback, and that was when we signed Cordell Stewart one off season. So, and he was already at the end of his career anyway. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but they've got to sit down with the McCaskies and say, look, you've got to let me do my thing. I'm the GM. You hired me for a reason. Let me put a winning product on the field.
All right, as Combs comes back off that soapbox a little bit, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. On the other side of the break, we are going to open up the phone lines for Trivia Tuesday. We are doing it a little bit different tonight. You're going to call in. You've got 3 choices between NFL Major League Baseball or common knowledge questions. You get 5 questions right, you get to win a prize. So phone lines are 502-208-9266. We'll be right back here on the Man Hour, guys. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. It is Trivia Tuesday, and Trivia Tuesday is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Head over to thrivefantasy.com. Use promo code MANHOUR for an instant up to $50 match on your first deposit. That's promo code MANHOUR. Combs, it is Trivia Tuesday, and
It is.
like I said before the break, guys, we're going to do it a little bit different. There's going to be no head-to-head competition. You are going to call in. You answer 5 questions correctly, 5 out of 5. You get to win a prize. Combs, show them what the prize is tonight, man. It's sealed in the box, isn't it?
It's a sealed prize, okay? And I will ship it out to whoever. I will not tell you what it is, but it is an autographed piece of sports memorabilia that does have a value of over $50. So do with it what you wish, whether you wish to sell it or if it's a team you hate, you wish to burn it and put it on YouTube and go viral. Do what you got to do. But you call on in. I'll give you 5 questions. Not all will be softballs, but I'll try to make it easy on you. And we'll see if we can't get you a prize. Michelle Dowling, is it multiple choice? It can be. Absolutely. Why not?
It's Man Hour Trivia Tuesday, baby.
So as we wait for our first caller to come in, Brandon, let's continue to talk about that Monday night game. So like I said, we saw 89 points scored on Monday Night Football. So the question is going to get raised here. Was this the best game that you have ever seen?
No. It was a great game. Not the best game I've ever seen. I mean, I've watched a Super Bowl that went to overtime after a massive comeback. I've watched, all sorts of different football games. Hell, a couple years ago, was it the Chiefs and Rams or something like that? That on Monday Night Football, that 53-52 or something crazy. So it was a great game. I mean, a phenomenal game, best game of this season, best game I watched this year for sure, but not the best game.
So like many people were saying like that was the best game ever, and that was the first game that came to my mind was the 2018 Kansas City Chiefs versus the Rams. If you guys remember, just flash back, the Rams played it in the Super Bowl in 2018 versus who was that? I forgot who they were playing. But we do got our first caller in tonight for Trivia Tuesday. What's going on, caller? Welcome to the Man Hour. Who do you got here?
Leo, how you doing?
It's Will. Welcome, Will. Welcome to the show. So we do have 3 categories for you to choose from. We have NFL, Major League Baseball, or common knowledge questions. What would you like to go with? NFL. Combs.
NFL.
All
right. So we will start with a somewhat easy one. What Chicago Bears running back was known as the Galloping Ghost? Was it Walter Payton, Gale Sayers, Harold Grange, or Jim Brown?
Hello?
Yep.
I can't hear him.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hardly hear you.
Okay. Sorry about here. Let's turn up the volume here a little bit. Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry about that.
All right. So let's go with this one more time. What Chicago Bears running back was known as the Galloping Ghost? Was it Walter
I think the answer
Payton?
to that was Granger.
Correct. The answer is
correct.
Harold Grange.
All right. Number 2.
All right. Number 2. What NFL player returned a fumble for 66 yards to the wrong end zone? Was it Leon Lett? Was it Deion Sanders, Jim Marshall, or Delta O'Neal?
I can't hear it. really low.
All right, let's try it one more time. What NFL player returned a fumble 66 yards to the wrong end zone? Was it Leon Lett, Deion Sanders, or Jim Marshall?
Seems like we're having
I
one.
believe it was Marshall.
Oh, there you go.
Correct.
That is correct. Good job, man. 2 for 2.
All right.
How many more is there?
3.
All right.
Who is the reigning NFL MVP? Is it Patrick Mahomes? Is it Lamar Jackson? Is it Mitchell Trubisky? Or is it Nick Foles?
Who is the reigning MVP?
Mahomes.
That is correct.
That is correct. Good job, man.
All right. In 1993, what NFL team made off-season trades for Joe Montana and Marcus Allen? Was it the Kansas City Chiefs, the Oakland Raiders, or the Denver Broncos?
That's a toss-up. How about the Broncos? That's a guess.
That is incorrect. It was the
That
Kansas
is
City
incorrect.
Chiefs who traded for Joe Montana and Marcus Allen. And
Yeah, man.
the
That
final
was when
one,
I became a Chiefs fan.
the final one here is what team won 3 Super Bowls in the 1990s? The 49ers, the Cowboys, or the Patriots?
Five seconds.
Can you give me them three again?
The 49ers, the Cowboys, or the Patriots?
I got to go with the Patriots.
No, it was the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys ran the 90s, Will.
Ah,
Yeah, if you let's flash back to the 90s like a little bit, because like I was a little young lad still, and I always remember the 49ers, the Packers, and the Cowboys always battling for the NFC championship games throughout the 90s. Like those 3 teams ran the league then. But
Yeah.
Will, thanks for calling in, man. Better luck next time. Tune in next Tuesday and try to win a prize.
all right, thank you.
Yeah, have a great night. All right, guys. So sorry about the little technical difficulty there. I had that turned all the way up, and it was blasting in my ear. So hopefully it turned out okay, guys. So like, guys, if we're ever having any technical difficulties whatsoever, just let us know in the chat, and we will try to fix that as fast as
And we've
fast as
still
we
got
can.
time.
So yeah. So we still got a couple minutes left on Trivia Tuesday, but flashing back into the best game ever, right? So, Combs,
It's funny that a Kansas
yeah.
City Chiefs fan brought up a Kansas City Chiefs game. Go figure.
Are you telling me that Rams Chiefs game was not like who's going to
It
score?
was not better
Yeah.
than that Patriots Super Bowl comeback. And I'm not even a Patriots fan, but that comeback.
Are you referring to the
against
Atlanta Falcons one?
Yeah, when they were down
Yeah.
down 38-3 and forced overtime and then won it in overtime. That it was a Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. So
yeah.
So I actually had both of those games down as better than the game from last night. But the reason why I went the Chiefs Rams game because it was it was 2 young quarterbacks battling back and forth, right? And like the Rams just came off that Super Bowl loss, and like the game was supposed to be played in Mexico, I think, and it ended up playing in like L.A. It was a bunch of fires. It was just a big cluster of a game. But when you score 105 points in a game, how is that not exciting at all? I mean, best game
Yeah.
ever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So go ahead.
There are a lot of other games though that come. I mean, you're talking about like the Fog Bowl, the Ice Bowl. I mean,
That's
you've
way before
got
my time.
So many. You're not that much younger than me, but there are so many other like great games. What was it? The Giants and the Buffalo Bills, where you had a wide left for the Buffalo Bills kicker, and sorry Buffalo Bills fans, but I mean those were just some great Super Bowls. You had the what was it, the Music City Miracle for Tennessee. I mean that's just another great game.
Did you ever watch that 30 for 30 on that?
No.
So apparently, apparently, like the big controversy was if the
forward lateral.
Yeah, it was the forward pass, right? So, so 30 for 30 actually did like some scientific analysts like on that game because there was no clear camera angle and stuff like that, and like you can draw all the lines you want, but that game was actually, that pass was actually behind, so it was a clean play. So the Amazon analytics people or whoever does all those stats like on those commercials, right? They figured it out and said it was a clean play. So all you Buffalo Bill fans, you guys can rest easy now. Like move on, right? So
hey, they're moving on just fine this season, man.
So I saw an interesting post that you posted over on our Facebook page, facebook.com/manhour sports talk. You said the last time the Buffalo Bills won the AFC was Josh Allen wasn't even born yet. Is that correct?
The AFC East, the last time they won it was 1995. Josh Allen was not born yet.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
Well, it's like what's insane
about it
to
now,
me.
It's 25 years ago.
Well, yeah, but like what's insane to me is like I'm getting old enough that I remember 1995, right? But like so like now like
I was a freshman in high school.
1995, I was like in third grade because the 93 flood came through my second grade. No, sorry, I was in fourth grade because the 93 flood came through Kansas and wiped everything out. Did you guys ever had flood issues in 93 over in the Chicago area? Because like it affected because like Cindy was talking about it too here in southern Indiana. So like I figured it's like the whole
I'll be completely I can't remember last week, let alone 1993, unless it retains the sports. So
right, isn't that crazy? I don't remember how that works.
Yeah, I can tell you. You can name me a year and say World Series, and I can tell you who played and who won, but I can't.
2005 World Series.
2005 was the White Sox and the Astros, and the White Sox swept them.
Nice. You know what my first World Series was? My uncle was a huge Yankees fan. And my other uncle was a huge Atlanta fan. It was the year that the Yankees Atlanta played. I believe it's like 96 or 97 maybe.
96, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what really got me hooked in baseball was that 96-97 World Series.
Yeah, it was Jeter was a rookie that year.
Yeah, it was John Smokes on the mound, and John Walker came out and closed it. And
yeah, unbelievable.
Speaking of baseball, we're going to take a quick little break, guys. And on the other side of the break, we are going to talk some baseball. Some off-season moves for the baseball. What else we got here? We got top signings from the Royals and Cubs, our two teams, and of course we got Jackie Bradley Jr. Where is he going to land? All that much more on the Man Hour, guys. Right after this break, we'll be right back.
Mike's thoughts.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. This is Michael Buckheist with my man, Brandon Combs. Head over to mikeandmikemanhour.com. Pick yourself up some merchandise. If you have missed any part of the show whatsoever, we can download this episode on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio as well. Or you can watch the replay on youtube.com/Man Hour. We also upload clips from the show every day as well. So, Combs, it's that time of day. It's that time of week. It's Tuesday. It's time for some baseball talk. Take us away, brother.
All right, guys, it's time for my favorite time of the week. Yesterday was your favorite time of the week with Way or No Way, but tonight is my favorite time of the week with baseball talk, man. Look, we've already had some signings. The hot stove is starting to heat up. All sorts of free agents are starting to sign, and we're starting to see, teams really engage in trade talks, and we're starting to see teams, start to say, or at least for it to start to come out who they're really interested in, who they're going after. First one that happened last week was the biggest one of the week, was the Mets landing James McCann. That's a the catcher they were going after from the start. Everybody knew that's who they were going after, and then they said if they didn't land James McCann, they were going to go after Realmuto, which surprises a lot of people because Realmuto's widely thought of as the number one catcher on the free agent market, Buck.
Right.
And James McCann is one of those guys who is an under-the-radar guy. I really like James McCann. I like what he does behind the plate. I like how he calls the game. I watched him a lot here with the White Sox, and the kid can just flat-out hit, and he's clutch. So it's a great signing for the New York Mets, and they're not done yet, man. They're not done at all.
Yeah. So being a Royals fan, like I got a chance to watch McCain quite a bit because the Royals and the White Sox play quite a few times throughout the year. But I want to bring in some stats to you. Yes, that James McCann is not the number one catcher out there, but he is definitely a top 3 catcher. Look at some of these stats from last year. He had a 36.3% caught stealing rate. So 3 out of 10 times he was catching you stealing second base or third base, and that is huge for a young pitching staff. If they walk a guy, they late game innings, you steal. I mean, that's not going to happen. Also, the only 2 catchers that were above him on that right was Salvador Perez. So Salvi, arguably one of the best catchers in the league when healthy. Obviously he had Tommy John surgery last year, two years ago.
Yeah.
But another big stat that you are a huge fan of is the frame rate, because I know you want computerized umpires, but right now we don't have that. So framing is a big deal. 88% of the pitches that he framed last year called strikes. That is huge for a pitching staff. And
he is so good behind the plate, man. So good defensively.
And also, think about this. The catcher that you named earlier, Muto, right?
Yep.
He is going to ask for $80 to $100 million, right?
Yeah.
James McCann, just as good, maybe slightly less, for half the price. So the Mets got a complete steal, and they basically got one of the top catchers in the league for half price. And now that they have a catcher locked in, they can go after some other big names: George Springer, Trevor Bauer. Who doesn't want to pitch to this guy in the end?
Yeah, and I mean, they've already got a really good young pitching staff over there in New York. And so I really like what they're doing. I like what they're building. The new owner is doing wonders for them. As soon as they land a new GM, they will be able to do even more than what they're already doing. So another big signing. I know we got a lot of Red Sox fans that watch this show. We've got a big following in the New England area. I've got a lot of friends out in the New England area. The Red Sox went out and added Hunter Renfroe, and this was a great addition for them. They need outfield help after losing Mookie. They needed another bat in that lineup, and Renfroe just solidifies that lineup. There are really no big holes in this lineup, but adding Renfroe was a huge key piece. I keep saying I want to see the Red Sox go out and get a Kyle Schwarber because I think that he would be great for them from the DH position. But Hunter Renfroe is a really good add, and even though they only got him on a 1-year deal, they've got themselves a good piece moving forward, and I think he'll play into an extension with them.
Yeah, that was kind of the only biggest red flag for me when I was prepping for the show is why did he only sign a 1-year deal? Do you think he's kind of test the waters a little bit come All-Star break?
So he's still kind of on a rookie deal, so to speak. If he signs anything more than a 1-year deal, a team has control of him for the final 3 years of his rookie I guess deal for what you're saying, because he's only got so many years in the league, so they would get control. And so by signing a 1-year deal, he basically resets the market for himself. And the Red Sox aren't afraid to spend money. So if he goes out and he performs and he shows that he's, can do what everybody knows Hunter Renfroe can do, I still can't believe San Diego let this kid go. But, he had a good year last year in Tampa Bay. So I really think that he'll end up playing his way into an extension with the Red Sox for sure.
Yeah, and let me throw some stats at you. So last year, obviously it was a shortened season, so these numbers might be a little bit skewed one way or the other. But he saved over 23 runs with 13 outfield assists, tied for first with Bryce Harper. So he is arguably one of the best defensive outfielders in the game besides Bryce Harper. And to be honest, I think Bryce Harper is really overrated, kind of. Yes, he has a good, strong arm. He has that awesome head of hair that he always throws the helmet off when he's running bases. But Hunter, I would take him over Bryce Harper any day of the week. Think about this. Half the price, same defense abilities, right?
No.
Now the only thing that he
not the same abilities at all. Look, Bryce Harper is a generational player. He's a 6-tool player. He is
a tool.
Everything that you want. I agree. I mean, he's not the guy that you really want leading your locker room, but he is a guy you want on the baseball field and in your lineup. The Washington Nationals got rid of him and then went and won a World Series. So maybe there's something to having him in the clubhouse. Philadelphia hasn't really performed since they signed him, but I can't say Renfroe's on that level, but Renfroe is a good, solid piece to have. He's a great complementary player.
Yeah, and just to throw some more stats this year, or his stats, he batted .228 in his career, 97 home runs and 226 RBIs. In Boston last year, when he played at Boston, he went 4 for 11 with 2 home runs. So he definitely loves hitting in Fenway Park. So
and Fenway Park's got that short porch, so he's going to tear it apart. You got a lot of good hitters. Like I said, with Kyle Schwarber being a lefty too, he would really tear apart Fenway Park. You got a good doubles guy in Chris Bryant who's available in trade. He would tear apart Fenway Park. But Hunter Renfroe is another one of those guys who is going to eat that monster alive. So it's going to be fun to watch for him in Boston for sure.
And as Combs Jr. comes over on the chat line, said he's going to hit some dingers.
He's going to hit some dingers. His name's not Big Al, though. His name's not Big Al. So, speaking of the Red Sox, they did cut ties with Jackie Bradley Jr. This offseason, and the market is really starting to open up for him. The Phillies are interested. The Cubs are interested. The Toronto Blue Jays are interested. There's a lot of interest for Jackie Bradley Jr. I got into it a little bit today on Facebook with some of the guys after this was posted on our Facebook page. And I said, of course, me being a Cubs fan, I said, well, we really already had Jackie Bradley Jr. His name was just Albert Elmore Jr., a great defensive center fielder who just can't hit. But if Jackie Bradley has found the bat like he did in 2020, the guy's always been clutch. He always is that guy who finds a way to come up with the big hit and have the big RBI, and he draws a lot of walks. But he's been striking out a lot lately. And so I think we already had that guy in Albert Elmore Jr., so if they signed him, I would like the signing, but at the same time, to me, it's not a big pass if we pass on him either. So I could see him in Toronto. I don't see him so much in Philly. I don't know where he fits in that outfield, but I could see him in Toronto. Toronto, I think, is a great fit for Jackie Bradley Jr.
So when prepping for tonight, obviously, baseball isn't my is my strong suit by any means. It's.
I know you just compared Hunter Renfroe to Bryce Harper.
I mean, the facts are facts. I mean, the numbers don't lie there, but I read something where Boston might entertain bringing back Jackie Bradley Jr. after signing Hunter. So, like, why they would do that, I'm not for sure. But that was some of the rumor stuff that I was reading, and usually those guys are pretty spot on. So
when you non-tender a guy, it's basically because you don't want to pay him what the qualifying offer is. So if they're going to re-sign him afterwards, it's going to be less than what the qualifying offer would have been. If you offer a guy a qualifying offer and he turns it down, then you get a draft pick compensation out of that. But on the flip side, if you give a guy a qualifying offer, which I believe a qualifying offer is whatever the average salary is for your position. So you're going to offer Jackie Bradley Jr., you're going to have to offer him like $19 million for the season, and that's just way too much. So if you offer him the $19 million, he's not turning it down. So you do see that a lot. You do see some guys that that are talking, that will get non-tendered and then re-sign with the team. Wouldn't surprise me to see, some of these other guys do it as well. The Cubs with John Lester. Would not surprise me to see Lester back in a Cubs uniform this season after being non-tendered.
Right. So heading back over to Jackie Bradley Jr. here. I mean, clearly, I don't think he is going to end up in Boston because there are other suitable options out there.
Yeah.
Looking at Philly here, I think he fits best in a Philadelphia Phillies uniform moving forward, simply because the Phillies are a right-handed dominant team, and they need that left-handed power. As somebody's trolling us over there on the Facebook page, that's weird, but yeah, Jackie Bradley Jr. I think fits the best in Philly because he is a left-handed hitter, and they need some left-handed good power hitters for that right-handed dominant lineup.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jackie Bradley, like I said, I mean, he's always been a clutch guy. He just strikes out a lot, and what you usually want from a center fielder, traditional baseball, which they're starting to get away from when it comes to lineups and stuff like that.
It's all about analytics now.
But traditionally, you want your center fielder to be pretty much your leadoff guy. It's either center fielder or shortstop is typically traditionally your leadoff guy. And Jackie Bradley Jr. just can't be that. Jackie Bradley Jr. is a guy who's going to hit 7th or 8th in your lineup. And you just hope that he doesn't leave the pitcher in the on-deck circle. So
right.
I guess I could see him in Philly, but I just don't know how he fits there. I do see him fitting with that younger team in Toronto, though.
Yeah, and then let's speak about your Chicago Cubs that could possibly lose 100 games next year.
They're not losing 100. Jesus Christ.
Jackie Bradley Jr. going to the Cubs also makes sense because of all the Red Sox that are now with the Cubs organization, the front office type of situation. So he knows what he's getting himself into.
Which is probably why he's gaining interest there.
Right.
But I just, if you get Jackie Bradley Jr., we're going to have Jackie Bradley Jr. in center field. You're going to have Ian Happ in left field, and you're going to have Jason Hayward in right field. We're going to have a great defensive outfield, but none of them are going to be able to hit. And so that's where you lose me with Jackie Bradley Jr. is just the Cubs need a guy who can lead off, a guy who can get on base, and be a starter for them, much like God, his name's going to escape me now. I don't know why he hit the damn leadoff home run in the World Series, Game 7. But much like
Springer?
All right, anyway, at any rate, much like the center field we had in the World Series here, I don't know why I can't think of his name. But he was a starter. He was a spark plug for us, and that's what the Cubs need, and Jackie Bradley's just not that. At any rate,
well, and then there was another team that I read that I was kind of like, really? And then I'm looking at it like, this maybe makes sense. What about the Houston Astros? Because they're getting ready to lose George Springer, probably going to the Mets or the Sox now. It kind of like that talk's getting heat up like a little bit for the Sox. So what about him to Houston?
Man, see, I don't know how players right now feel about Houston because of the whole scandal. There were a lot of players that were not happy with what happened in Houston and with how the players handled it. So I don't know how many big name free agents or how many good players that the Houston Astros are going to be able to land, because I don't know how the players are dealing with it behind closed doors. I know there were a lot of players that came out in public and said some stuff about it. So I don't know. I mean, obviously with a lot of these guys, money is where they'll go, but I think Houston's going to have to overpay for a lot of guys in order to land them.
Do you think they're really just mad because Houston got caught cheating?
I think that they're mad because of not only that Houston got caught cheating, but because of how they did it, and they won a World Series because of it. And there were a lot of teams that felt like they got cheated out of their chance to win a World Series that year. I mean, look at the Dodgers, who they beat that year. There were just a lot of teams that you went about cheating a different way. It's not like you weren't at second base stealing signs. You weren't, reading what the coach was saying or something like that from the other dugout. You were using technology to bang on trash cans so that you knew what pitch was coming. And I don't care what you say, if you know the difference between a fastball's coming in, especially when you got a guy on the mound like any of the fireballers for the Yankees, in Chapman or any of those guys who can also throw you like an 86-mile-an-hour slider, if you know the difference between a fastball is coming or a breaking ball is coming, it's a huge advantage.
You still got to hit it, though. You still got to hit it.
But I'm telling you right now, if I know I can't hit your slider, but I know I can catch up to your fastball, I'm waiting to hear that trash can bang one time. And then, yes, I know a fastball's coming, so I'm gearing up and I'm following through. And a Major League Baseball player, if you tell them what pitch is coming, 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you they are going to succeed.
Let me ask you Let me ask you this question. I mean, in high school ball, like I played high school baseball and then played some college ball too. But in high school, we had a coach that would sit there and try to steal signs in the dugout as their catcher was like calling the signs.
Nothing wrong with that.
What is the difference?
Because you're trying to catch the signs as he's laying them down. So you're going through a series of signs. So in order for me to catch that in the amount of time that I need to relay it to you, it's just not going to happen right then and there. That's why sometimes you see the runner on second will do subtle things to try to steal signs, and that's fine, because it's a lot easier for me to, if I'm stealing the sign as the guy in the dugout and I'm relaying it to another person who's relaying it to another person, by the time it gets to that person, the pitch is already being thrown. But if I'm reading the signs from a camera, banging on a trash can as soon as you put the sign down, there's just, it's a huge difference, man.
I don't see any difference in whatsoever. So, like, if I see you put down a 2 and I say, "Hey, Buck," last name means second name, so therefore I know like a curveball. There's no difference.
Let me put it in the terms that you can understand. All right, let's talk football talk with you, dummy. All right, so there's a coach on the other sidelines who can read your signs. He knows what signs you're putting in.
That's me.
Your hand over your eyes or over your mouth. He knows what play you're calling, okay? So now he's got to relay that over to the coach, who's then got to relay it to the middle linebacker, who's then got to call the play in the audible within the time before you can snap the ball.
What is your deal with going to A, B, C, D, E, F? Just go from A to Z. Skip all that middle shit. So I see you calling this play, and I know, it's a slant. I'm going to go directly to my Mike linebacker like, hey, there's a fucking slant coming.
But if I change my signs, if I tell my guys before they go, hey, this time we're going here, so that way they think we're doing this, that's one thing. But now if I give you a guy who's using technology and who is in your earpiece and knows what play you're calling, it's a big, big difference, isn't it?
No, there's not a big
give me a break.
You still have to relay the information. You still have to take it in and act like like that.
You're wrong, Buck.
No, I'm not wrong. You were just mad just because they're playing in this gray area. I mean, come on,
they're not playing in a gray area. They're playing in an illegal area. It was something that was taken out of the rule book.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Yeah, after they got caught.
No, it was
Just like steroids. Steroids are bad
2001.
because you guys got caught. Come on.
It was put into place in 2001 when they started putting cameras in the outfield. That's when they put the rule in place. So yes, it was a rule that was in place that they cheated. So yes, it's a bigger deal.
People are just mad because no, we're not moving on. People are just mad because Houston got caught. That's the only reason why they're mad. If other teams, I guarantee, were doing the same thing. So you're telling me that the Royals in 2014 just came out of nowhere because
other teams were doing the same thing. Other teams were doing the same thing. The Red Sox were doing the same thing, and they got caught too.
But people aren't mad at them. People aren't afraid to go to the Red Sox in free agency.
All right,
explain that, Mr. Baseball connoisseur.
At number 4.
Better move on.
All right. So I said to you before the show, why don't we each come up with the 3 best free agent signings or trades from our favorite teams. So you got the Royals. I've got the Cubs. What is the 3rd best signing for the Kansas City Royals of all time?
Oh, of all time? I thought we were just doing this off season.
Oh, my God.
I didn't think we're doing all time, man.
All right,
I thought we were doing free agency. This what?
All right, we'll go this free agency then. Go ahead.
Okay, so this free agency, I have Mike Minor. He is a relief pitcher coming into the Royals pitching staff here. Last year, as a starter, he was 1-6 as a starter with a 5.6 ERA, but he quickly got demoted to relief pitcher or the setup man, and when he was in that role, he had a 1.7 ERA. And if you guys flash back to 2014, 2015, when the Royals were at the top of their game, they had a great 7, 8, 9 pitching staff there, and that's kind of what they're starting to build here with Mike Maynard as their setup man. Definitely going to be huge for them moving forward.
All right, so the Cubs actually haven't signed anybody, so I'm going to have to go with the top 3 guys I think they should go after. So at number 3, because I'm going off the cuff, so I'm going to go with Masahiro Tanaka. Tanaka is a guy who the Cubs they need to bolster their rotation. They've got a solid 1-2 punch with Kyle Hendricks and God, I'm so bad with names. Yu Darvish, and so Masahiro Tanaka would be a great addition for the Cubs to shore up that rotation, and he would be a solid number 3 guy for them. Number 2, Buck?
Number 2, I'm going to go with Carlos Santana. They are adding a veteran first baseman to their team, to a young team, and this also saves their third base Dozer, because they were toying with the idea of moving Dozer to first base this offseason. And when you take a player like Dozer away from third base that he's already had to fill big shoes from when Mike Moustakas left, that would definitely hurt that whole left side of the infield. So Carlos Santana, a veteran first baseman, definitely a very huge signing for the Royals this offseason.
All right, so at number 2, I am going to throw a curveball at you. I'm going to say the Cubs should go get Kyle Schwarber. They should bring him back, be one of those non-tender guys that they sign for less money, and then if he's performing well, you trade him halfway through the season. You trade him at the trade deadline. You do what you got to do to actually get something in return for this guy that you spent a number 4 overall pick on. To not get anything in return is silly. I know he's had a couple of down years, but he was also a huge reason why you won that 2016 World Series. And I think you stuck him out in left field. He came up as a catcher. He is not a left fielder, but he's gotten better every single year defensively in left field. So for me, Kyle Schwarber would be the second best signing for the Cubs this offseason.
And my number 1 signing for the Royals this offseason has got to be Greg Holland. Greg Holland was our 8th inning pitcher in the 2014-2015 season. One of the best setup mans that I have seen in a very, very long time. He got hurt in the 2016 season. He eventually, I believe he went to the Athletics, if I'm not mistaken. But we definitely brought him back. And if he is any former shell of himself from the 2014-2015 season, he will be a great setup man for this very young pitching staff that the Kansas City Chiefs Kansas City Royals are putting together, and I'm kind of excited for the season. After these 3 signings.
Yeah, Greg Holland is a great signing for the Kansas City Royals. He is really a top back end of the bullpen arm. He just really is. I do love that signing. And the Kansas City Royals are going to be a sneaky good team in the AL Central, which is a very good AL Central with the Minnesota Twins and Chicago White Sox. The Cleveland Indians, I think, are going to go ahead and get a little bit worse. And
Cleveland
we'll
baseball
talk about
team.
that. We'll talk about no, they're the Cleveland Indians still. And so we'll talk about them here in a second because I've got something for you here. But the Kansas City Royals really are going to be a force there. So for me, the number one thing that the Cubs need to do this offseason is not a free agent signing. It is actually a trade. They need to go ahead and trade Chris Bryant and package up maybe, another prospect, even if it's an Alec Mills type, and go to Cleveland and get Francisco Lindor. You put Francisco Lindor at shortstop. You move Javier Baez over to third base, who is a phenomenal third baseman. He's a phenomenal defensive player wherever you put him, but you put him at third base, you put Francisco Lindor at shortstop, and then you got Nico Horner over at second base along with Anthony Rizzo. That just solidifies your infield, and it solidifies your lineup because Francisco Lindor is a guy, like I was talking about, a spark plug, somebody who can really start things up for you, and I think he would do wonders for this Cubs lineup. So that's where I am at with number one. Go get Francisco Lindor for Chris Bryant and a prospect.
Do you think they'll realistically do that though?
Yes.
Do you think the Indians would agree to that trade? Like that?
Yes,
like that's
I
what I
do.
want to say.
I
You really
do.
think so?
Because Francisco Lindor is going to command more money than Chris Bryant is. And Chris Bryant is one of those guys who's in the final year of his contract. And if he's performing well, because the Cleveland Indians are starting to rebuild, if he's performing well at the All-Star break, you're going to get a ton in return for him. Chris Bryant is still a phenomenal player. I love Chris Bryant. I love anybody who brought us that 2016 World Championship. But Chris Bryant is still a guy who has won Rookie of the Year. He's won an MVP. He's won a World Series. He's still a guy with a ton of talent. He's just been hurt a lot. And if you can get him out of third base and put him in left field or even as a DH, you're getting something special.
Do you think he'll perform better in the outfield than the infield as far as hitting wise?
Absolutely, 110%. If I'm the Cubs, even if I hang on to him, I'm putting him in left field. He's not my third baseman moving forward.
Who's your third base moving forward if
Javier
you don't make
Baez.
that trade? Okay.
Javier Baez. But
All
who
right.
am I? I'm just a peon on the man hour. I don't get to make calls for the Chicago Cubs, even though I should. I should be able to make calls for the Chicago Cubs, who are also looking for an announcer right now. So, Jed Hoyer, I know you love to listen to the man hour, so, hey, hit me up, buddy.
All right, guys, that is going to be it for the Man Hour today. Thank you for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show whatsoever, head over to our YouTube page, Man Hour, or youtube.com/Man Hour. You can watch the replay live on that, or the visual aspect, or you can listen to us on the car on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes as well. I'll get that uploaded directly after the live is over. But Combs, any closing thoughts, man?
Man Hour Nation. See you tomorrow.
Bye.